Hi guys, in the previous video we learned how to create custom post type and then custom taxonomies, how to create the ones with hierarchy and the ones without them, which are basically called categories and tags, but they are still our custom taxonomies. And in this video we're going to learn how to create a product form. Product form is going to take all the information of your particular post type. It will accept different categories and things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So there are different ways we can get the data. First, I can create a product from here. So let's say that I want Raymond's shirt. Okay, and I will say that Raymond's shirt, it's brilliant. Oh, something like that. You don't actually have to put anything over here, but if you want to, you can. Okay, and over here, I'm gonna say that. So there are different categories basically over here. Before even we create the product, let's just leave this here. Let's go to shirt. Okay. Okay, let's create some categories of the shirt. So in shirt, I can have a casual one. Okay, and then to parents, I don't have anything yet, so I can just create one. So I have casual shirts, and then I have formal shirts. Okay, so the two types of shirts that I have, casual and formal. Remember, these are terms. Okay, this is a taxonomy, custom taxonomy, and these are terms. Let's take example from Amazon. What else do they have in casual? Okay, let's say we have long sleeves and short sleeves. Okay, so I'm going to create a long. In casual, let's say I have denim shirts. Denim shirts. And I would say in casual, I have the denim shirts in casual. And I'm going to add that. So you can see that inside of casual, I have subcategory, which is denim shirts. So it's a subcategory. Okay. And then inside formal, I can have like cotton shirts. Okay, and then I'm going to set the parent to formal, and I put that there. Okay, so you can see we've got these two types of categories for that. Okay, similarly for t-shirt, I can have let's see what do I have for t-shirt. Okay, so let's say I have V-neck. That's one. And then I have round neck. That's two. Okay, so I have two terms basically, two types of taxonomies, which is round neck and V-neck. Okay, and then inside of that I can have, let's say again, I can have cotton, or I can say, yep, cotton, and I can select round neck. And inside of V-neck we can have, let's say, we can have sleeveless, just for namesake. So this is the subcategory inside the V-neck. So you can see there are two terms we have. They have the subcategory, basically the cotton is a subcategory, and this is the parent round neck, and this sleeveless is subcategory, and V-neck is the parent category, and this is our taxonomies, custom taxonomies. Okay, so you've created them. I'm going to add the new product now. I think we did create one earlier. I'll just go to edit that back. So in the Raymond shirts, we can select that it is a formal shirt and it's a cotton shirt. Okay, and obviously this is not a t-shirt, we don't need to worry about that, and I can just publish it. If I go on to the page, obviously nothing will be found yet. Okay, great. So Raymond shirt update. Okay, anyways, so you've got our custom product basically. Okay, and so this is the different ways of going ahead and adding values to the product. So either I can do it from the back end or I can do it from the front end. So now we'll learn how to do it from the front end. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll create a custom template. So I'll create a directory called custom template. Inside of that, I'll create a custom template and I'll keep the name as add new product. And as we all know, in order for us to give this as make this as a template, all I have to do is just say template name and then colon and space, and I'll put that as add new product page template. Okay, I can get rid of all of this, we don't need that. Okay, and if I now go ahead and go to any page, create a page basically, and I'll set that as new product, and I can go ahead and select the template as, oh, I haven't got the same template yet, just one moment. Okay, I think it's probably not saved, just one moment. Okay, let me move this template to my main theme. Probably I think that's why it's not showing there. So this is my main theme 2017 that I'm using, and I'm going to paste it over here, and sure enough I have the custom template now, and I can delete this from here, we don't need it. Okay, perfect. And I think now I should have that template over here. Sure, we have it now. Okay, so I'll name that as add new product. So this is my page. Obviously it doesn't have anything because I haven't written anything over here. So obviously I need to call get header function. I need to call get footer function to be able to get the header and the footer section of my theme inside of my template function. Okay, so I've got my header and the footer of my theme, okay, inside of my template function add new product.php. Okay, so what we need to do now is basically we need to create a form which can take the information like the name of the product, the categories, etc. Okay, so guys, to save time, I've already created a form over here. So you can see form action method is equal to post label. It's got the product name, input text, product categories. So you've got shirt, t-shirt, product color, and you've got red, blue, green, depending on all you have, and you've got the button for submit. So you've created the form, a simple form. As you can see, this is what the form is basically. Okay, you can fill in all the information. You've got the shirt and t-shirt, you've got the color. Okay, but if you notice, this is static content for these categories. This is not dynamic. Tomorrow, what if we create more categories? Then we wouldn't know whether it's going to be what information needs to be displayed over here. So what we're doing over here right now is that, let's say any product is not available and there's a customer or a consumer who wants to request for that product. You can just put the name of the product type of the product, product color, and just submit the form, and this query goes to the database, probably, things like that. Anyways, or probably it's an admin who has this page, and he can create this product listing from over here, from this page on the front end. Who's not very comfortable using the back end, you can use it over here. So guys, at this point, two questions come to my mind. How do I get these categories listed over here dynamically from the database? So it should actually detect as to how many categories, taxonomies in fact, are listed over here. How do I get those taxonomy listed dynamically? And at the same time, how do I feed this data into the database? And one more question comes to my mind. Is there a possibility that we can click on the submit button and all of this data goes via Ajax, which means I don't want this form to be submitted and page, when the form is submitted, I don't want the page to be refreshed. Like if I click over here, if you notice, the page is being refreshed. Okay, so how to do all of that? So let's do it step by step. The first thing we want to do is basically list these categories, custom taxonomies dynamically from the database. So before we even do that, let's just create some colors, custom colors. Okay, so I'll create the green, I'll create blue, I'll create black, because most people prefer black. I prefer one. Okay, so got three colors. So ideally we should have these three colors here, and I should have the product categories. I should have shirt and t-shirt dynamically being displayed from here. Okay, so these are the custom taxonomies. There are certain methods or functions WordPress already has to display the custom taxonomies. So we're gonna go them one by one. Go over them one by one. Okay. So let's say what we already want. Okay. So WordPress provides us with a method called getTerms, and getTerms is actually going to give you the list of all the terms that you have with the taxonomy name as well. Okay, so let's try that. So I'm going to go ahead and on top, I could have done all of this in functions.php or custom functions.php, but let's just save time, just put it here, and you can always put that in your custom custom functions.php. Okay, so we want getTerms. Okay, so getTerms, let's say terms is equal to getTerms, and it accepts one parameter, which is an array of arguments. So I'm going to pass the argument. I'm going to say args is equal to array. Okay, in fact, I should just increase the font because that'll be much easier, wouldn't it? Great. So, okay, why do I have two? Anyways. Okay, so what do I want to pass? So let's see what parameters it accepts. Okay, so it accepts the taxonomy name. So I'll put that there. What if I don't pass any taxonomy name? What happens then? Okay, so let's say I don't pass anything, because if you see arguments is optional. Yeah. So if I don't pass anything, let's say. Yeah. I'll say pre. I'll say terms. And I'll print it. Okay, and let's see what we get on the front end. Refresh the page, and sure enough, we've got an array of objects. And I've cotton shirts, I've got formal, I've got uncategorized, I've got different sort of things. Okay, but I haven't got all of them, right? If you notice, I have many of them. I have many of taxonomies, but I haven't got only 3. Why did that happen? I think the main reason why this is happening basically is because this getTerm function will be available to you, inside of the init hook. So what I need to do, add action and make sure we are calling this method inside of the init hook. So we'll create a custom function, display terms. So sometimes if you don't get all the terms, then make sure you define it within init. Okay, now if I go ahead and create a function over here, and I name that as display terms, and inside of that function I can put the whole thing. Okay, and now if I check by refreshing the page, obviously I'm not getting anything because just one moment. So since we are not getting any information here, let's go ahead and define it into our functions.php. So I'm going to go back to my custom functions of my plugin. You can always do that in your custom functions of your theme as well, or just functions.php. And I'm going to go ahead and define this function and use add init hook to display the terms and do a refresh page. And sure enough, I do have the terms, taxonomies. However, if you notice, we still have only 2. Why so? So sometimes if you are not getting all the result that you do expect, and if you don't get them, there are 2 things you need to do. The first, you need to make sure that you call your custom function where you are getting the terms in and hook it to the init hook. And second thing you need to do is make sure that you pass an argument inside of it. Args, and the argument actually should be an array, and that would actually have this property: hide empty is equal to false, which means that because those taxonomies were empty, and that's why they were not being shown. So if you do hide empty is equal to false, then you're going to go ahead and, because hide empty by default is true, so you will, the taxonomies which didn't have any values inside of them were not being shown. So now if you go ahead and refresh the page, sure enough you can see that you've got all the taxonomies there. You've got the color taxonomy, black, you've got the color, the shirt, t-shirt, shirt, t-shirt. You've got all the taxonomies basically. All the terms basically, not taxonomies. Because you've got all the terms. Taxonomy is basically color, shirt, shirt. So you've got all the taxonomy, and these are the terms basically. Black is the term, blue is the term, and casual is the term, cotton is the term, cotton t-shirt is the term. So remember, black, blue, green, these are the term. Round neck, cotton, V-neck, sleevelet, these are the term. Okay. And basically you've got all the terms, and that's why the method name is called get terms and not get taxonomies. Okay, so you've got the terms basically. So in our situation, we actually don't need the terms. Basically we need the taxonomies. All we need basically is I'll just refresh the page after commenting this out. All we need is just the shirt, t-shirt, and the color. Okay, so how do we do that? We can do that using get taxonomy function. Get taxonomy. So I can comment this out. I can just say get taxonomies. That's all I have to do. Refresh the page. Refresh it. Okay, there's something wrong. 1 second. Obviously I have to uncomment this. So you can see we've got all the taxonomies. We've got category, post tag, nav, menu, link category, post format, shirt, t-shirt, and color. Okay, so because this is also a taxonomy category, tax is also a taxonomy, shirt, t-shirt, color, all of those are taxonomy. The nav menu is a taxonomy, link category is a taxonomy, post format is a taxonomy. So we've got all the taxonomies. Okay, so this is the name, this is the slug of the taxonomy, basically shirt, t-shirt, and color. So what we can do is, obviously since these are limited, we don't really need to show them in a loop, but we know how we can get that data. Okay, so we can just say shirt. In fact, we can store this in an object. Tax object, and then we can go ahead and use this to make sure that we don't do a mistake. This is an array basically, so I think it's not going to go like this. It's not an object, it's an array. So I'll just put array. In the braces we can put shirt, and sure enough then we would get the shirt as a return value. Yeah, cool. What we can do basically over here is we can just call a function over here saying out, in fact, we can just copy it from here and paste it here. Over here we can get this value dynamically. PHP echo tax array, and then it's the shirt. Similarly for t-shirt, we can say t-shirt, and similarly for color, obviously we don't need to put color over here, we want the values of them, but we can store text color. In fact, color is equal to tax array color. In fact, you can say that slug also. Okay, now if you refresh the page, let's say we have the function that's being called over here, we can just comment this out. We can get rid of this, we don't need it. And we can comment this out, and we can refresh the page, and sure enough we have this dynamically being displayed over here, right? Shirt and t-shirt. Now what we need to do is basically we need the values of the taxonomy color. Okay, so again similarly, if you notice we haven't really used the init hook over here because it's not needed. We are getting the values. If you weren't, then you would probably use that hook. Okay, so what we need now is basically the object, basically the term inside, the terms which have the taxonomy as color. Okay, So what we can do is we can again use the get terms function. Get terms. Okay, and it's going to take an argument. I'm going to set that to term. Okay, and we're going to pass the argument as an array. So to array. And we're going to go ahead and define taxonomy name. So if you remember, the taxonomy name, in fact, color, tax color name. Okay, so this will be a taxonomy name, because remember that was the name of the taxonomy. And I'm gonna say hide empty to false. Okay, and then let's go ahead and print as to see what we get in this term. Print. Let's print this out and see what we get. Alright, so what we have over here is basically black, blue, and green color. Okay. Before even we get there, I think we really need to define the values of these as well. So I think the same thing goes over there as well. The values. We can always store that in an object, but for time constraint, I'm not doing that. You can always store this information of tax array into an object. Not object, basically variable, not object. And then you can pass it over here, but for time constraint, I'm not doing that. Okay. Cool. So I want to display all these dynamically. So what I'm going to do is basically loop through over here. So I'm going to say, I'm going to open a PHP tag, and I'm going to say for each term, because remember term is an array. So for each term as term object, okay. So I'm going to say what do I need from here? I think what I really need is basically the name, and I want the slug and the term ID. I think these are the three information I need. I don't need anything else over here. Okay. So what I can do is I will say term name is equal to term object, because remember it's going to give me the object. So I'm looping through the term array. So this is the term array. I'm looping through each of the term array. So now each time this loop is run, term object will be equal to this object first time, this object the second time, and on the third iteration of the loop, it's going to have this object. Okay, so because it's an object, I'm going to access its properties. So I want to access the name. So all I have to do is put name over there, because name is the name of the property. And similarly, I can do that for the term slug and the term ID. Okay, term slug, term ID. Of course, I can just copy it. Let's write it, in fact. Slug, ID. And then all I have to do is basically close the for each loop over here. Not the for each, but the PHP loop. And open it over here again. Okay, well done. Okay, and I'm going to paste this whole thing. In fact, not whole thing, because obviously it's looping over, so we don't need to keep writing this. We just have to write it once and automatically it's going to loop over like this. Okay, so remember we need the value, so we can say PHP echo, and I need the term name, not the term name but the term slug. So term slug, and I need the term name. So term name, and I think I do need the, in fact, just need to use the PHP tag over there. Echo term name semicolon, and I also need the term ID, so I can say data ID. So this is the data ID attribute, custom attribute, and I can just put the term ID over there. Echo term ID. The reason why we are doing this is because if you want to store the data into the database for that particular product, I can use the term ID and the slug to do that. So that's why we're doing that. Okay, great. So we've got that, and just do this to make it more clear. And now if I check, sure enough, you guessed it right. We should have all of the information being displayed dynamically. I can get rid of this echo and print. We don't need that. Refresh the page, and sure enough, you've got black, blue, and green shirt, t-shirt being displayed dynamically. And the best thing is that if you do an inspect element, you can say inside of select you have the value as black, text the text value is black. You can value. Okay, 1 second. I think we're not really getting the ID over here, so there's some problem there. We need to fix that. How to do it? Let's just check what we're getting inside. I think the name is the term ID basically, that's why it's not happening. So I think, I'm just guessing it. If it doesn't work, we can always come back and put this back on. Refresh the page. Yep, we got the ID now. So it was the term ID basically, the name of the property. It's got the term ID, we've got the term value, we've got the term name, and then over here as well, we've got it dynamically. Product name, select, we've got the value, t-shirt and t-shirt over here. Great. So you've got all the values. All we have to do is basically, whenever the user fills all the information, we need to take the content of this form and using JavaScript, stop the prevent submission of the form, get that value into Ajax, and then feed it back to the PHP file where we can put all of these value into database with the product ID. We're not going to do that in this particular video because I think it's too long. I don't want to break in between to break the what we've understood so far. I hope you did like it. If you did, please do subscribe to my channel and do share the video. And I'm going to stop it for now, and I'll see you in the next video, or maybe tomorrow. Okay, take care guys, bye bye.